Do you need friends? Okay, I realize that this is a really stupid question. Of course we all need friends, but have you ever wondered why some people appear to have a stronger drive to create connections with other people more than others? Some people easily make friends wherever they go, but others struggle to fit friends into their lives. Friends are important for everyone, but not for everyone in the same way. How important are they in your life? This is where the flex versus friends part of the social types comes in.
Before we get into the specifics of friends versus flex, let's go over how the social needs fit into the bigger picture of your OP type and your animals. At the top, we have your savior functions. These two functions dominate every observation, thought, and feeling, usually without you even noticing. They are unconscious by default. Below the savior functions, we have the animals. They govern how all your functions express themselves, and with that, how you interact with the world, how you expend energy, and how you process information. And then underneath it all, there are the social needs. They represent a long-term life drive that's independent of your cognitive functions. Depending on your whole type, your animal stack might flow easily with your social needs or clash with them. And then the same is true for the relationship between your animal stack and your savior functions. Your animals might emphasize the expression of your saviors, but they might also naturally pull you towards your demons and create internal conflict.
So in this video, we're going to talk about what the friends versus flex coin actually is, what the core driver of this coin is, examples of well-known celebrities who have OP types that clash with their social need, and how to get unstuck if you are experiencing conflict. The objective personality system is made up of binary coins, and the friends versus flex is a binary coin in the social type makeup. In one of our previous videos, we covered the other social type coin, which is generalize versus specialize. So what is flex? Flex is a savior social need in the types 1 and 3. It is a drive to put your name on something. It is easier to put this into the context of a business for comparison. Now, if you're 1, you want to be at the top and you want to own the whole business and be in charge of the strategic direction. But if you're a 3, you just want to be the best at a specific part in the business and not deviate too far out of your lane. Identity and self-image are hugely important to someone with flex. You want to be seen a certain way, and you will consciously try to control this through how you dress and how you interact with others. Friends, on the other hand, is often something that needs to be figured out. Elizabeth Phillips, someone that we typed, made a whole video on the meaning of friendships, which is a little bit weird.
The other side of the coin is friends. Friends is a savior social need in the number 2s and number 4s. They are driven by connection with others. If you're number 2, you want to take care of all areas in your life and then help your friends and other people in general to do the same. If you're number 4, you always try to see the best in others and you want to connect with your friends first before you do the work. Much like the animals, you really need to respect the whole stack. You need to cycle through the social needs in order to avoid feeling resentful long term. If your flex is a savior social need, so either first or second, it means that an authentic desire for connection with others can only come after you have fulfilled your need to work towards your own goal. But if you have friends as a savior, so either in first or second place, it means that a true drive to own something for yourself only comes after you connected with others.
But what if you feel a lot of conflict and you don't know why? For some people, their OP type and their animals are incongruent with their social needs. You might have a hard time seeing if you're savior flex, if you're also savior DE. Or you might have a hard time seeing if you have savior friends, if you are savior DI. Gary Vee is a great example of someone whose OP type and animals are in conflict with his social type. So for reference, Gary Vee is a double masculine FE, SE, play blast, consume sleep, number 1.
You know, everything that works for me is when I feel like I'm doing it for someone besides myself. I'm doing it to make my parents proud. I'm doing it to show my sister the right way. I'm doing it for my employees. Even the way I got into better health and fitness was I hired a babysitter, but really what I hired was someone to do it for. Mike and Jordan is who I want to make proud today. My scale being 175 versus 176.8, which it was 2 days earlier, and Mike texting me, great job, on the travel day, I did it for him. And so as I'm getting older, and so much of the Gary Venus I'm realizing is I'm happy when I'm doing things that make other people happy, or even at a higher level, creating a framework or a blueprint that they can interpret into themselves.
So in this clip, we're seeing a combination here of Gary's human need DE, but then we're also seeing the number 1 flex there. So what we're seeing is Gary talking about how he gets his motivation from others. He likes to make others happy. So that's the DE need being fulfilled there. But then we're also seeing the number 1 flex drive of, I want to inspire people. I want to create this blueprint so that something that inspires others.
What's your dark side?
probably my unhealthy. There's a version of me on a competitive scale that can get dark. I'm incredibly competitive. The only place I feel like I'm dark is when I'm competing. Like, it's crazy. Moments ago, couple hours ago, we did rock, paper, scissors tournament with our leadership team as an exercise. I lost to Peter Chun, head of platforms, the guy that talks to Snap and everything. I quickly thought, after I lost in the first 5 seconds, should I fire him? Of course, Steve, there's a little ha-ha. But if I'm being naked and authentic and transparent to this audience, thank God at 47, the wisdom years, I used to punch. If Dustin Bingham, Joe Minikawa, Glenn Curtis, Eric Rainey, can you guys all stand up and go to social media and tell everybody the following truth of what happened anytime I lost in Madden 94 in a dorm room? I would punch a hole in the wall, knowing I would have to pay a fine with my own money, but I was incapable of dealing with losing.
Why?
Because I wanted to win.
Yeah, but why?
Because it felt better than losing.
Why?
Not because of like the great place you're going with this path. Like, it's really funny. It's no different to one of the great lessons. I've gotten so weird that there's a part of me now that wants me not to buy the Jets more than buy the Jets.
I've seen this evolution.
Because I want to show the world how pumped I'm going to be for Sarah McGee who bought it. And this is a brain fuck. But I lived my whole life saying, if I can show kids that you can go from not being able to afford a fucking jersey to buying the whole team, I can help. Now I'm starting to believe when I show the grace and happiness for someone else's accomplishment at the expense of my lifelong dream, and teach people that it was the great enjoyment to try it, that I can have a bigger impact than showing that you can do it.
So again, we're seeing a lot of DE from Gary here. It's almost impossible to not see it. But what we're seeing in this clip here is that he is processing the flex through the DE. So he's naming all these people, he's seeing his interactions with others, he's also seeing what he looks like from the outside perspective, from others' perspectives, but he just cannot turn off this insane competitiveness that he has, like to the point where he even considered firing someone after losing rock, paper, scissors, which is ridiculous. But then towards the end of the clip, we see him actually processing the friends and recognizing that in order to be more inspiring, he needs to actually lift others up and help them. And by doing that, it's essentially an even bigger flex. Now, being an EJ, Gary will struggle with not feeling allowed to leave others behind, or feel allowed to put himself above others and have things his way, which is the core need of a number one. With Sleep Last, he will run into problems of being seen as calculated and aggressive, and probably unknowingly bullies and pushes on others.
Now, my type twin Keanu Reeves is another great example of someone who's OP type and animals are in conflict with a social type. So we have the same OP type, double feminine, TISE, consume, sleep, play, blast, but Keanu is a number 4.
Who is your best critic? The person you trust?
Who do I... You know, I have a few friends whose opinion I really respect. I mean, it's not that my other friends I don't respect, but it's, you know, I don't know, who would I... Like, I have a friend of mine who I met on a film named Alex Winter. We did a film called Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and we've been friends, you know, since. And, you know, if he sees a film and he's like, well, I like this and I like that, or I didn't like this, I didn't like that, you know, I feel I usually agree with him.
And for example, do you relax on a Saturday Night Live with a glass of wine and enjoying a good movie? And what movies do you like?
Yeah, I actually go to the movies. Yeah. I'll be in Los Angeles, and you know, sometimes I go to the afternoon movie alone. You know, I like, you know, sometimes when you're not working, you want to relax and visit friends and hang out with family. And but on those days where it's like, you know, I love going to the cinema with friends or by myself. And but then there's also, you know, like a great night. Like I remember I went recently to Gravity with a friend, and it was a packed packed movie theater, and you got the popcorn, and the screen is huge. It's 3D. It's a great night out. People are excited. I love that experience. I love going to the movies.
In this clip, you can actually see several of his parts. You see the blast lastness. You also see the DE last. He is asked about the people he asks for advice that he respects. And at first, he's a bit stumped, like, who do I ask? Until he does remember his friend, Alex Winter. And so you see the DE last, but still, he also expresses his need for friends, that he loves his friends. He likes spending time with them. Yeah. He likes to go to the cinema, yes, alone, but also with friends and experience these kinds of things he enjoys with people. He also is friends with Alex. Why? Because they think in the same way, they agree. So you see really both parts that are kind of conflicting, but he's really made it work for him.
That guy sits on the subway by himself. No,
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, but there's no obvious outward displays of wealth from him. Yeah. I mean, he's insanely wealthy. Yeah. When you see him, he's dressed like me. Yeah. He's got like a regular watch on and sneakers. He's normal. It's real weird. And people freak out. They're like, is that? No, can't be. Like, people ignore him because he's figured out a way to just sort of
disappear
blend
in plain sight.
And then even if you talk to him, he's just normal. Like, everybody that I know that's met him said the dude's like totally, look at it. He lets his chick sit down, He said, you want to sit down? Go ahead. Boom. And he just stands up. Look at it. I mean, even the way he's not, no bodyguard. That's some over-the-top fame. He hit that Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise level of fame, and then just became this super chill, mellow guy that can just like go through crowds.
And the tribe agrees, and the tribe is baffled by that, how Keanu, although he is an A-list actor, although he's extremely wealthy and extremely famous, is still able to kind of just disappear in the crowd and be just like anyone else, and he has no desire to flex or put himself above others. This desire is so absent that people don't even notice him. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
Being an IP will save your sleep. Keanu will feel not allowed to bother others and will struggle to muster the extroverted energy to get the connection that he really desires based on his social type. So the blast last and also the play last will run into the problem of feeling lonely and easily drained. So how do you use your OP type to get your social needs met? Happiness researcher Arthur Brooks, who is a sleep last ISTP with friends as his last social need, emphasizes the importance of friends in his book on getting happier. Friends and healthy relationships in general are one of the main factors in living a healthy life of enjoyment and purpose. As Holly said earlier, everybody needs friends, but how many differs from person to person. Arthur's rule of thumb is having at least one close friend besides your partner or spouse. If you're an extrovert or have friends as a higher social need, you probably want a larger group of friends. But if you're an introvert or have friends as a lower social need, you might actually be better off just having one or two friends while prioritizing other aspects of your life. In any case, the quality of friends and the depth of the relationships are more important factors than pure numbers. Create connections that are not simply based on usefulness, like advancing your career or business. So-called deal friends are not the ones you're looking for. You want friends that you resonate with on a deeper level. People who share your values or faith or outlook on life. People you can be honest and vulnerable with. The right balance between relationships and other aspects of your life looks different for everyone or every type. First, work with your social type and not against it. It tells you the relevance that you will want friends to play in your life. There's no need to force anything that might make you miserable just because some book or YouTube video tells you to. Then, work with your OPS type to fulfill those social needs. If you're more PIP with FE last, you probably won't be the life of the party. But that doesn't mean you cannot work on your extroverted side and build deep friendships that make you happy.
It's important to note that embracing your social type does not mean neglecting your demons. It means owning them too. The answer can be found in doing your last animal. By focusing on your last animal, you'll be forced to work through your third animal and your last two functions, which will give you the freedom you need to meet your social needs. Then your saviors will be allowed to push you in the direction that you want to go in, instead of just creating more resistance for you. Regardless of whether you have Flex as a savior or a demon, working on it will give you the drive that you need to improve and better yourself. And if you are someone with demon DI, leaning into your Flex will actually help you to build your identity and the person that you want to be.